Hey everyone, welcome to another episode of Live with Virginia NORML. I'm J.M. Padini, the Development Director for the National Organization for the Reform of Marijuana Laws and the Executive Director of your state chapter, Virginia NORML. It's Friday, September 2nd, 2022, and that means it's time for us to talk all things cannabis in the Commonwealth and answer your burning questions live. So, hey, wherever you're watching from, thanks for tuning in. Be sure to hit that like, follow, or subscribe button so you never miss a live from NORML. Who's ready for the weekend? Me, I am. So we had a kind of end of summer, back to school, not super duper busy week, which is nice. But some things did happen. The Cannabis Oversight Commission met this week. It was available to view online. Some of you came down and joined us there in person. I thought it was really interesting to see which members of the commission showed up and participated. So the commission is composed of members from the Senate and members from the House of Delegates, and there's a majority. The majority of the Senate members are Democrats, as is the Senate, and the majority of the House members are Republicans, as is the House. However, no Republicans from the Senate showed up to participate, and only two from the House showed up to participate. So it was really great to see Delegate Leftwich and Delegate Ransone there, new members of the commission, really interested and engaged in learning more about how cannabis is already regulated here in Virginia, and the work that the commission does to review legislation in advance of every session. Really disappointing not to see full participation, but glad for those people who are interested that they showed up and did their job. Cassidy tells me that the archived video is not yet available for the commission meeting, but it should be on LIS sometime today. So keep looking, Cassidy and Ben, and let me know. But once it's available, we'll go ahead and post that so you all can catch up if you want. Yeah, other than that, not a whole lot's been happening, and hey, I am a-okay with that. On Wednesday, the newest dispensary in Virginia opened. This is Beyond Hello, opened their fourth dispensary, this time in Virginia, this time in Fairfax. It is on Fairfax Boulevard near the corner of Lee Highway and Route 123. It's open now. I don't think that they have, I think they have limited hours this weekend because of the holiday. So if you're headed to a dispensary in Virginia, be sure to check the Virginia NORML website for a link to that dispensary's website so you can check their hours of operation over the holiday weekend. I know some of them have changed their hours because of the holiday. So check first, know before you go. Now I see you all in the comments. I thought maybe no one was here. Hello, Unique. You have a safe weekend as well, friend. Charlie, I don't remember who your delegate is, but it's either Leftwich or Ransone, and either way, they were there. John says, let's share John's comment here. John says, gonna be hard to get sales going in a state that has a constitutionally illegal liquor business going. Yeah, so John is alluding to the fact that alcohol sales are regulated by the Commonwealth here in Virginia. You can buy beer and wine at the grocery store. But to buy hard liquor, you have to go to the VABC store, not just the ABC store, the VABC store, and buy your hard liquor there. You know, John, I don't think that alcohol is the problem with moving forward with adult use retail sales in Virginia. The real problem simply comes down to um, House leadership at this point, and the fact that there is not a committee chair in the House of Delegates who's interested in allowing an adult use retail bill to get to the floor for a vote. It's really just that simple. So, unless and until House leadership, and this means Speaker Gilbert and Leader Kilgore, unless and until those two intervene and say, hey, this is what we're going to do this session, there's just not a path forward in the House of Delegates. Elections have consequences, friends, and this is one that we're experiencing in real time here in Virginia. Hello, Ellie. It is so good to see you here in person. I don't see you, but I see your comment, and I'm glad you're here, friend. Hey, Dennis, happy Friday to you, and hello, Nicole. Good to see you as well. Unique, I love your, oh, that's great. Look at that. You know, we have a prop for that now. Make good choices, friends. Driving while impaired, as Unique highlights, is a bad idea, regardless of substance or reason. So, friends, make good choices and don't drive impaired, be it for cannabis or any other reason. Oh, hey, Rick. Good to see you. Good to see you, Rick. Rick says just visited Rise in Salem. Says they're very nice, just like in Christiansburg. And I hope that you did get your veteran discount, Rick. Let us know. Oh, Michael. Yeah, good point, Michael. So, Cannabis is the dispensary that's going to open in Carytown here in Richmond. G Leaf has had the Need Supply store, the old Need Supply store, for some time now on Cary Street, and the pandemic sort of delayed the opening of that dispensary. But they have rebranded it as a cannabis dispensary, and they're moving forward with that. So good to see that you were able to check that out, Michael. Oh, hey, Ellie. Ellie brings up a good point. Ellie asks, please share whether practitioners require one to go once in person before delivery is allowed. There's a company that's advertising that you don't have to go in at all. Yeah, so that's a good point, Ellie. You do have to, as far as I'm aware. Cassidy, I don't know why all of a sudden this all of a sudden I'm like, wait, is this the right answer? To the best of our knowledge, you still have to go in person for the first visit, and afterward can have delivery. This is one of the reasons why we have registered agents as well. But hey, Cassidy, feel free to take a quick peek and see if there are any changes in code that we're not aware of. Hey, Fonz. Yeah. Okay, Fonz says we need Biden to decriminalize. Look, we need a lot of things, Fonz. I think it's weird that it's really Chuck Schumer that kind of got us on this awkward trajectory where let's see your comment, Nicole. where we've started using decriminalize as a federal policy term, and it's really not accurate. I'm not saying that you're not accurate, Fonz. I'm just saying that the application of this word as like a federal policy principle is really not accurate. But regardless of whether Chuck Schumer calls it decriminalize or legalize or whatever, what we really need, I agree with you, Fonz, is for Biden to put any effort into ending federal prohibition of marijuana. Removing cannabis from the Federal Controlled Substances Act, which is actually not called cannabis there, it's called marijuana. Removing marijuana from the Federal Controlled Substances Act is the method through which federal legalization or federal decriminalization will happen. It is the only path forward. There's no rescheduling it to another schedule does not solve for the problem of prohibition. It will be removing marijuana from the Federal Controlled Substances Act and allowing states to continue setting their own policies free from threat of federal interference. So as I was talking to my colleague in Utah today, in her state, she overheard someone in the state legislature hem and haw that they thought Congress was going to do something, so they were just going to wait. And we both sort of chuckled at that as if that were, as if that were even an answer. I mean, you can wait for Congress to end federal marijuana prohibition, but that will not de facto legalize marijuana then in your state in which it is not already legal. States will still have to take action. So yes to all those things. Oh, Van Bruno. That sounds terrible. Van Bruno says, hello, having been deported 28 years ago because of possession has ruined my life. Wow. That sounds awful, first of all. So sorry that happened to you. There are a lot of cruel consequences that occur as a result of marijuana prohibition in the United States and honestly around the world. Feel free to reach out to us at legal@normal.org. And I also encourage you to head to cruelconsequences.org and share your story there. I'm sure Tamara would be really interested in hearing your story. And if you're looking for legal resources, you can reach out to Normal at legal@normal.org. Hey, Ronson, good to see you. Good to see you. We put out, I think, a really excellent piece this week at Normal, raising the alarm, legalization efforts under attack. And I would encourage you all to take a minute to read this if you haven't yet over the weekend. We knew this was coming, first of all, right? Prohibitionists out there fueled by dark money and special interests, they don't have a spin that's really widely popular the way ending prohibition is. And so they are resorting to all sorts of trickery to really keep voters from ever even having a say. Before a single ballot has even been cast in the 2022 midterms on a single marijuana ballot measure, they're doing everything they can to crush legalization attempts in several states. So take a look at this great piece on normal.org. I'm sure Cassidy is going to drop it in the chat for you as well. In the last election in Mississippi and South Dakota, reform opponents successfully litigated to nullify election results for a pair of marijuana legalization measures. And this negated votes cast by 73% and 54% of voters, respectively. That, success that they had in overriding the will of the voters, really seems to embolden them. and encourage them to continue with these anti-democratic efforts in 2022. So in Arkansas, they're trying to invalidate voters' pending decision on the statewide proposal to legalize marijuana possession and retail sales. In Missouri, there's a legal effort underway to try and disqualify a citizens' initiative legalizing marijuana for adults. In Oklahoma, election officials are engaging in extensive delays to the verification process. I think there was just recently a ruling that came out today on that as well. Listen, even if legalization supporters prevail in these legal challenges, prohibitionists, fueled by their special interest funding and dark money super PACs, they've already declared their intent to spend even more money spreading their baseless lies and fear mongering to defeat these measures. These measures that are intended to end failed prohibition at any cost. I don't want to let them win. I know you don't want to let them win. We cannot let them win. And we know that we have the facts on our side. We have science on our side with the majority of American people on our side. So I encourage all of you to please read this piece, stand together with NORML, and help push back against these prohibitionists and their sneaky legal attempts to undermine American voters. Hello, Jennifer Douglas. Jay, you should check it out. Alta Vista. Look at all these things going on. Samuel, thank you, friend. Thanks for tuning in. Oh, Rick, I'm glad to see you did get the discount. Charlie, you're funny. I have to dedicate this logger to Kevin and Aaron. Just gonna cheers, friends. Michael says, asks if the prohibition effort is tied to pharmaceuticals or morality. I think it depends really on, you can sometimes see where the money's coming from, but if you look at the most traditional opponents to legalization, their opposition, despite their claims of it being about opposing commercialization, it's just their latest foil. If you just peek back ever so gently behind their thinly veiled curtains, you can see rather quickly that their funding comes from those for-profit entities which rely on criminalization, that currently capitalize on criminalization. For example, liquid gold. Oh, that's right. We're talking about urine. So drug testing is a huge industry, and what hangs around in urine or in your body, and then it comes out as metabolites in urine, cannabis metabolites. And so there's a lot of funding provided by companies that capitalize on required drug testing to oppose legalization efforts. At the state level, you'll often see substance abuse organizations. Don't get me wrong, there are some great organizations out there dedicated to substance use that we partner with and we're glad to work with. But there are a number of entities that I assume believe they are well intended, but really what they're after is maintaining their revenue stream that a state provides to them under prohibition. We had to dismantle that here in Virginia. Prior to decriminalization, you could essentially pay to have any first offense sort of set aside, and you would be mandated into rehab. So you would have to, pay to take some whatever drug class was available wherever you were. Sometimes you'd be in a district that didn't even have drug education and you'd go to some alcohol class. But look, this whole, there's a lot of structures, institutional structures, even before you get to prisons and jails, that subsist on revenue driven by prohibition. So that was a whole lot. Thanks for asking that question. Morality, no. Money. Hello, Jessica in Mississippi. Good to see you here. Ellie, you're so kind. Ellie says, if you haven't gone to the Virginia NORML Facebook shop, you're missing out. I mean, Ellie's not wrong. We have a ton of new stuff in the store. If you haven't checked it out lately, last week we talked about gibbets, which are the charms that go on your Crocs, and those flew out of the shop this week. There's still, plenty of fun shoe charms left, so check those out for sure. We have this handy board right here now that has all the pins on it. So, we have a bunch of enamel pins. You can check those out. We have the new NORML pin right there. That's in the lighting's terrible. That's in the shop, as well as the Virginia NORML pin. So all those are there. We have all of the stash products to keep your product safe, your family, and your pet safe, and to keep yourself safe. If for some reason you have to transport your cannabis or medical cannabis products with you in the car, you want to put them in a locking container and put them in your trunk. Or if your car doesn't have a trunk, then behind the last row of passenger seating, you want to use a container that has an actual lock that takes a key or a combination. Make it real clear that you are not trying to drive around with an open container. And you can get this stash case in our Facebook shop. It has all kinds of Velcro compartments, so you can customize it. And if you need a little bigger one, we have a whole giant, I guess it's not giant, but it's like the size of my arm bag as well, that also locks. So if you need safe storage, and listen, everyone needs safe storage, it's part of being a responsible consumer, then check that out in our Facebook shop. And if you're a person who wears earrings, we have a lot of earrings in the shop as well, including these new ones that Cassidy really, really loves and talked me into ordering for the shop. But we haven't put them in there yet, but look, they're there. They're very large, and they're going to be in there soon. They're going to be in there so soon. Pride Fest is happening this month in Richmond. I finally saw some content that confirmed that, in fact, it is happening. This is on September 24th. I believe it is from 12 to 8. It is here in Richmond, and we will be there. So come out and see us. Hello, James in Alabama. Good to see you. Oh, Rick, you had high hopes for Oklahoma? Yeah, Oklahoma is one of the few states that has a really open licensing process. Hello, Carla in Texas. Oh, hey, Nick. I think it's going to take North Carolina a minute to catch up to Virginia. Come on over. Otherwise, it's generally about the same. Hey, John, thanks for bringing that up. Yeah, so in Pennsylvania, Democratic Governor Tom Wolf and Lieutenant Governor John Fetterman, who NORML loves, announced yesterday the launch of a coordinated effort to provide pardons for people with select minor nonviolent marijuana criminal convictions. Under the program, the Pennsylvania Board of Pardons will accept applications from eligible applicants from yesterday, the 1st, through September 30th. Applications are free and can be submitted entirely online. You can see all of the details, including which convictions are eligible, on the NORML website. Take a look at that and find out if you're eligible for Pennsylvania's marijuana pardon project. Thanks for bringing that up, John. Kimmy, we will not be at whatever the thing is in Charlottesville. Oh, Andrea, yeah, there's been some efforts in North Carolina, but I think the South kind of got excited because they saw some progress in Florida early on. I see some progress in Virginia, and Georgia's got a little bit, but not really, and just kind of trying to put the squeeze on the rest of the Mid-Atlantic, but it's not going anywhere fast. You're right, Jay. These bags are really cool. Whew. Yeah, sorry about that, Andrea. North Carolina NORML's working on it. What can we say? All right, friends. Do you have any burning questions? If so, drop those in the chat right now. And hey, if you're watching after the show is already aired, you can email us your questions or send us a message on Facebook. Humble Hydroponics. I am sorry that South Carolina also sucks. Make sure you're getting connected with South Carolina NORML if you're in South Carolina. Let's change some stuff. I mean, it's what we do, right? Yeah, speaking of, not related to Virginia, but there are people watching from all over the country right now. And speaking of states doing weird things or terrible things, when it comes to cannabis, medical cannabis in particular, Florida health officials enacted these emergency rules that impose dosing limits for qualified medical cannabis patients, which is pretty absurd. It's a lot of bureaucrats making decisions that they're not qualified to make. Fortunately, in Virginia, that's not how it happens here. Here we had a nice little slogan: "Let doctors decide." Of course, a registered practitioner now includes an MD, a DO, a nurse practitioner, and a physician assistant, and those are the folks that can certify patients to participate in the medical cannabis program. And after that, a patient can, get that sort of dosing information from the pharmacist at the dispensary, based on that patient's actual healthcare needs, not from some made-up numbers from a bureaucrat who's never met any of the people involved in this process. Wild. Can you imagine if you're like, I broke my leg? Well, better call, the Board of Health and ask them which antibiotic is right for me and if this painkiller is okay and can I have surgery? Can you imagine? Wild. But one of the creepier things, I guess, or maybe we should tweet about this. In fact, there was an internal sort of dare that someone ought to tweet about how the state of Florida has, in fact, regulated how much cannabis someone can having a suppository. Yeah, yeah. That seems like something you need the state to weigh in on. Anyhow, ridiculous things afoot in Florida because, like we always say, Florida's gonna Florida. Oof, serious. Hey Jay, let's see your question. Jay says, when traveling with cannabis locked in a bag in the proper place, if stopped by the police, should we immediately tell them that we have it in the vehicle? No. Whether or not they do a search, how should nothing? You should say nothing. You should follow the directions that are given to you by law enforcement, and otherwise, you should shut your mouth and be polite. That's it. Yeah, no, no, just no. People feel emboldened to like offer up information because they think they're, being helpful or it's going to reflect kindly upon them. It's not going to. Yeah, no, just don't. First of all, first of all, make good choices. Best choice is not to drive around with weed in your car. But if for some reason you have to transport cannabis, make good choices, lock it up, don't drive around smelling like weed, put it away. And if you get stopped, be polite and keep your mouth shut. Um, yes, Nick, if you do move to Virginia, then you can qualify for medical cannabis in Virginia. All you have to be able to do is prove that you are, in fact, living in the state. You can do this with utility statements or with a lease. You can do it before you even change your driver's license. You just have to prove that you are. Just going to put Rick's comment up there. You just have to prove that you're actually living in the state because even non-residents, so these are people who live in Virginia but have residency in another state. It could be a snowbird, it could be a college student, it could be someone in the military. Those people can qualify for medical cannabis because they are actually residing in Virginia. You don't have to, be a resident, meaning you pay taxes and vote here. You just have to live here. I hope you all have super awesome weekend plans. I'm excited for a long weekend. Um, I hope you are too. I hope that you have long since hit that like, follow, or subscribe button, or all three, whatever platform you're watching us on. Make sure you are going to get notified and never miss a live from NORML. If you haven't yet, head to Virginia NORML's Facebook shop and get awesome things like clinical applications for cannabis and cannabinoids, review of the recent scientific literature published by NORML. It's delightful. It's also available in ebook form in the Amazon Kindle store, and you can also shop the NORML store at store.norml.org. It's September already, and elections are coming up fast. We've got all of the resources you need to make sure you're registered to vote, to update your voter registration information, to get registered if you aren't, to help your friends and family get registered, to find out what's on your ballot and who's on your ballot and what their positions are on cannabis policy. We have all of this and more. You can find it all on the NORML website at norml.org/election. That's Election Central. It's going to have all the information on ballot initiatives, as well as links to our voter registration page, as well as Smoke the Vote voting guide to legalize marijuana to help you know who and what's on your ballot. Check those things out. Make a plan to vote. Help everyone you know make a plan to vote. Elections have consequences, friends. I know midterm elections aren't always the sexiest ones. Listen, every year is an election year here in Virginia, so every year is delightful. But lots of elections in 2022 in November, and they're all important. So make sure you're ready to vote. Hey, also thanks Cassidy for that reminder. On Saturdays, Normal delivers the weekend weed read. This is a short little digest email that has the top hits in weed this week, just like it says. It's super fun. I love putting this content out, and I hope you are subscribed to it. All you have to do is head to normal.org/subscribe, check the weekend weed read box, and then you will get that every Saturday from yours truly. And we can have even more wild and entertaining fun together, changing cannabis policy throughout the country. Listen, friends, I hope you enjoy the long weekend. Have a wonderful time if you are taking some time off. Ooh, if you're taking some time off this weekend, enjoy and be safe. And I will see all of you back here next Friday. Thanks so much for watching.